It also has a building mass less than 1/10 that of the Great Pyramid.
But it only looks small when you compare it with those, because the Pyramid of Menkaure is huge. It's as big as the Step Pyramid. The pyramid has the distinction of being clad in its bottommost courses of granite rather than limestone, so it would have been more colorful.
Why the pyramids at Giza got progressively smaller remains unknown. But scholars speculate that the enormous cost of these massive building projects simply could not be sustained by the kings who followed Khufu. Of all the monuments connected to the pyramids, perhaps none is as remarkable as the mighty Sphinx. A huge stone lion with the head of a man, its design, construction, and purpose has been the source of heated controversy for centuries.
The Sphinx, I think, is compelling because it's this part human, part animal form, and it provides this mysterious air. It's not quite completely all there. It's this huge structure on the Giza Plateau. What in the world could it have been about?
We know that from where it is, that most likely it was done during the time of the builder of the second pyramid, King Khafra. And this is because of the orientation of the Sphinx itself. And some people even perceive that the face of the Sphinx itself looks like the statue of King Khafra.
240 feet long and 66 feet tall, the Sphinx was the first truly colossal piece of sculpture in ancient Egypt. Its builders began by quarrying a U-shaped ditch out of a solid limestone base of the Giza Plateau. Then, they sculpted the body from the block of stone that made up the center of the U, making the bulk of the monument actually part of the plateau itself. A recent theory makes an even more direct link between the Sphinx and the natural landscape.
I really think if you look at the setting of the Sphinx, you can see that it is more part of that environment that most people give it. Why do I say that? It's because we see things like that almost identical to it in the Western Desert, due to total natural erosion.
These natural features are called mud lions.
This here is a Yardang, or a mud lion, or a natural Sphinx. There are huge numbers of these in the Western Desert in Egypt, and that's why I'm saying that the ancient Egyptian may have borrowed that shape from this natural landform, knowing that it is part of the majesty of the land.
For hundreds of years, there have been rumors of secret tunnels and chambers within the Sphinx. Not long ago, those ideas were put to the test with ground-penetrating radar.
And they did surveys the whole area, and it proved that there is nothing really underneath the Sphinx. The Sphinx is a solid rock or a living rock, and there is nothing really is hidden inside.
A sense of how ancient and revered this monument is can be gained from the fact that its first restoration was undertaken almost 1,100 years after Khafre died, by Pharaoh Thutmose IV, in and around 1400 BC. A 12-foot-tall, 15-ton granite stele, erected by Thutmose at the site, relates the story of how, as a young prince, but not the crown prince, he was on a hunting expedition near the Sphinx. Pausing for a rest, he fell asleep in the shadow of the statue's head, which was then the only part of the monument that remained above the encroaching desert sands.
And the Sphinx came to him in his dream and said, "My son Thutmose, I'm dying because of the sand. If you remove the sand away from my head, I will make you the king of Egypt." And this prince actually became the king of Egypt. Then Thutmose, as a matter of fact, is the first archaeologist on earth. And he's the first one who restored the Sphinx.
The Sphinx was built to guard the pyramids for all eternity. And yet, as imposing as it has failed to ward off the predations of man. Because of the fabulous riches contained within the pyramids, all of them, without exception, were broken into and looted by tomb robbers long ago. Indeed, in many cases, later archaeologists were able to find the interior passageways of a pyramid simply by following the tunnels dug by thieves, such as this one in Menkaure's tomb at Giza. Some have speculated that this is the reason why the building of large pyramids declined so rapidly after the golden age of the 4th dynasty. Others take a different view.
I personally believe that they stopped doing the pyramids because the country was unified. Because if we agree to this premise that Khufu had actually gotten these people to feel great about building this together and becoming one people, then from there on it became a matter of burial site, and that's no big deal. So I started making little ones.
The attention shifted from the size of the pyramid to the development of the complexes attached to the pyramid, so that the pyramid temples expanded and became more complicated, and the valley temples expanded and became more complicated.
After that, pyramids got increasingly smaller, and it just sort of faded out.
Ironically, most of these later pyramids, such as the Black Pyramid at Dashur, were made with a core of mud bricks to speed their construction, then faced with a layer of limestone. Once the limestone was plundered for other construction projects, they quickly eroded, leaving them in a greater state of disrepair than the earlier stone pyramids. As long as the pyramids have stood, and as much as they have been studied, new research promises to unravel even more of their ancient riddles.
New techniques of analysis and investigation are developed and can be applied, and we find out new things all the time because of that. So that the pyramid field is never exhausted.
Yet, even as new theories are examined and old ones discarded, the pyramids will continue to maintain their compelling allure.
I remember when I first saw the pyramids, it was in fact as a graduate student. I was flying in to do research, and our plane passed over them, and I saw them from the air, and I got to admit, I got teary-eyed.
And I'm sure that we'll know more, because I always say to people that you never know what the sand of Egypt might hide of secrets.
Some secrets of the pyramids may remain locked within their stony embrace until even they succumb to the passage of time. But even as new knowledge sheds light on their ancient mysteries, the Egyptian pyramids will remain as eternal monuments, not only to a bygone era, but to the boundless ambition and ingenuity of humankind.